What is a monster? That is the question the author Walter Dean Myers in his novel Monster is asking his readers to consider about a 17-year-old boy who is on trial for felony murder. In the climatic scene where Steve wins his case, Steve spreads his arms out to hug O'Brien, but she stiffens and turns to pick up her papers from the table before them. But wait. Steve won his case? A jury found him innocent. So why does Myers characterize him as a monster? Before we can answer why Steve is a monster, we must first define what makes someone a monster. Someone has the potential to be a monster when they show selfishness or only thinking about themselves and not caring about others. This is true because the basic concept is who you are living for. Yourself or others. Another sign of becoming a monster is when someone lies to rationalize their ideas. When someone does that, they are lying to themselves. If they are already lying to themselves, it will soon lead to them lying to others, and then no one would believe them, even if they are telling the truth. The path to becoming a monster is built upon trust. Trust is the foundation for all good and strong relationships. Without trust, no one can fully rely on you and will expect you to not be honest or fair with them. The final trait that makes someone a monster is built upon exploiting others. For example, if they exploit someone, they would be using them for their own good. Also, they would have them pay for their actions even though they weren't responsible. Now that we have defined what makes someone a monster, let's use our definition to analyze why Myers thinks Steve is a monster. Steve is indeed selfish and uncaring. For example, Steve says about his mom, "There was a look of desperation on her face. For a moment I felt sorry for her, but I don't anymore." This clearly shows Steve was being selfish by not caring as much about his mom as he used to. Steve also shows that he lies to rationalize his ideas. Steve says, "I see a face looking back at me, but I don't recognize it. It doesn't look like me." Steve also says we lie to ourselves. Maybe we are here because we lie to ourselves. It is obvious that lying to yourself means you're defending what a monster is because you're trying to believe that you're not. Steve clearly demonstrates that he is an untrustworthy person. For instance, 5 months after the trial, Steve says, "My father is no longer sure of who I am. He doesn't understand me even knowing people like King Bobo or Osvaldo. He wonders what else he doesn't know." Myers is hinting here that when we lose the trust of the people we love the most, it is part of becoming a monster. Finally, Steve is exploiting other people. When Steve had the flashback about throwing the rock, he hits the tough guy and tells Tony to run, acting like he did it. Instead of Steve paying for his mistakes, the tough guy slugs Tony for what Steve did. This shows that Steve seems manipulated and he didn't accept responsibility for his actions and lets Tony get pushed around for him. All things considered, these are the reasons why the author Walter Dean Myers believes that Steve Harmon is indeed a monster. Throughout the book, Steve shows selfishness, lies, is untrustworthy and exploits other people. Therefore, Steve shows all symptoms of a monster.